When evaluating baseball players, traditional metrics, like wins above replacement, also known as WAR, have become a gold standard in baseball analytics. While WAR is powerful, it's also very complex and often confusing to understand. The model behind WAR incorporates many things, including park factors, defensive adjustments, and other methods, making it hard for casual fans and analysts to trace exactly where a player's value comes from. Hello, my name is Caleb. I have a degree in statistics from the University of Illinois, and this is Insight Sports. Before diving into my own metric, let's briefly define what WAR is. WAR attempts to summarize a player's total contribution to their team in one number. It combines hitting, base running, fielding, and for pitchers, pitching, and is adjusted for position and context. WAR is measured in wins above what a replacement player would provide. To estimate how many more wins a player is worth, let's use a real-world example. Imagine your favorite team loses its starting shortstop to injury, and management brings in a replacement. This is someone from the minors or a bench player. WAR tries to answer the question, how many more wins would your team have with the original shortstop versus that replacement level player over a full season? If the starter is worth 5 WAR, that means they'd add about 5 more wins than the replacement. It's a powerful concept, but getting to that single number involves complex thinking, hidden assumptions, and adjustments that can make it tough to interpret or replicate. Some of the complexities include ballpark factor. This is whether a stadium favors hitters or pitchers, defensive movements based on historical hitting patterns, and many more. The graphic on the right shows how WAR translates into real-world player value. Think of it like a talent pyramid. At the base, players with 1 WAR or less are typically bench warmers, guys who might be replaceable or on the edge of a roster spot. As you move slightly upwards to the 1 and 2 range, you get your role players, solid contributors often platooned or used in specific game situations. 2 to 3 WAR players are usually everyday starters, but guys you want in your lineup regularly. 3 to 4, these are your stronger players. They are usually more reliable, consistent, and a step above the average starter. Once you get to the 4 and 5 WAR, you're looking at your all-star level players. 5 to 6 is whenever you get to star territory, and 6 plus, those are your MVP contenders. The higher up the pyramid you go, the rarer the talent becomes. Most players fall somewhere in the lower middle, like we see in our RAR distribution chart later on. The visual reinforces what WAR tries to do, compress everything a player does into one number that can be used to rank their seasonal value. I set out to build an alternative, a reproducible statistic that estimates how many runs a player contributes to their team over a season through hitting, base running, and fielding. This metric, I call runs above replacement, is built from public data gathered from Baseball Savant and basic baseball logic. RAR is not meant to replace WAR. Instead, it complements it by offering a more interpretable framework for run contribution. RAR estimates total runs contributed above what a replacement player would provide in the same number of plate appearances or defensive outs. It's centered around 3 pillars of a player's value: batting runs, base running, and fielding. We also have a replacement level adjustment term to contextualize performance. First, we calculate batting runs. Instead of using traditional linear weights to calculate batting runs, we use RE24, a stat that measures run expectancy based on the 24 base out states in baseball. In every game situation, there's an expected number of runs that will score from that point until the end of the inning. This expectation depends on the number of outs and which bases are occupied. That's where we get the 24 base out states from. RE24 assigns a run value to each plate appearance based on how much it changes this run expectancy. For example, a bases loaded walk increases run expectancy significantly. A strikeout with runners in scoring position reduces this. This makes RE24 incredibly useful because it calculates for the real game situation, not just what the batter did in isolation. By using RE24, runs above replacement reflects what the actual in-game impact of a player's actions, rewarding clutch performance and penalizing wasted opportunities. Next, base running runs. This one is rather simple. Base running runs is equal to 0.2 times the number of stolen bases, subtracted by 0.4 times the number of caught stealing. Third one, fielding runs. This is just StatCast fielding run value plus the positional adjustment, what we'll see later on. The replacement level adjustment term is equal to plate appearances divided by 600 times -20. This assumes replacement level players contribute approximately 20 runs fewer per 600 plate appearances. When we put all these together, we get RAR. Batting runs, base running runs, fielding runs, subtracted by replacement adjustment. Positional adjustments are scaled by the share of defensive outs a player logged at their primary position, assuming 4,350 team defensive outs per season. For example, 1,000 outs at shortstop with a plus 7.5 run positional value would yield you approximately 1.72 runs. After applying this model to 3,620 player seasons with over 100 plate appearances from 2016 through 2024, and excluding 2020, we get a right-skewed RAR distribution, which we expect. We see the mean is approximately 66 runs, the median is approximately 57 runs, and at the top end, you have your MVP caliber seasons passing 215 RAR. We went ahead and categorized players into tiers. The first tier, being over 150 RAR, is your superstar range. We have 184 players in this bunch. 105 to 149 are your all-stars. We see a jump to 535 players. 50 to 104, the starters. 1,315 players. 10 to 49 are your role players with exactly 1,400, and below 10 are your replacement level players at 186 players. As you can see, most of the players fall in the 10 to 104 gap, like we said with WAR. These tiers align with real-world roster roles. Most players cluster into the role player and starter buckets, with elite production reserved for a few. As the chart shows, most player seasons fall between 10 and 104 RAR. These are your role players and starters, consistent with how real rosters are constructed. Very few players reach superstar status, and only 5% fall below replacement. As you can see, RAR is decreasing, and these are the top 10 performers of RAR. On the right, for WAR, we can see that WAR is a little more scattered. This means that RAR is not directly derived from WAR, but rather an approximation. Does this seem accurate to you? Add in the comments. To recap, RAR has many strengths, including its transparency, where every piece of the formula is visible, replicable, and interpretable. Accessibility, everything is built from public stat leaderboards. It has its strengths, but it also has its limitations. Unlike WAR, we do not account for park factors or leak adjustments. Fielding values rely on raw run value, and base running is simplified. We could always incorporate new extensions into the future, such as park factors, league normalizations, home away splits, or aging curves. Runs above replacement offers a clean view of a player value in terms of runs. It is not WAR, and it's not trying to be. Rather, it's a teaching tool, an exploration framework, and a launchpad for analysts who want to see how players create value in a season. By breaking performance into transparent components, RAR helps make sabermetrics accessible without sacrificing meaning. If you'd like to see more content like this for baseball or other sports, leave a like and subscribe.